I just can't do it. Ears are impossible. Nah, no, they're not. And today, we're going to prove that wrong. Get excited because I'm going to share with you some of the things that I wish I knew when I first started making ears almost 8 years ago. And of course, some great tips and tricks along the way. You noticed how I added an extra layer before I started felting. That was one of my little boo-boos from the beginning, as I used to make my ears too thin and too floppy. So keep them kind of thick so they'll hold up. Something that always helps me is to have my doll ready and to constantly test out the size and the shape that I want my ear to be. So I always put it up to the doll and just kind of check it out and see if I need to remove anything like I was here, so on and so forth. Okay, we are starting to get a little more ear shaped like, sort of. And you've noticed that I'm using my multi-pin. I have 2 needles in it, 36 gauge. And of course I will use a single, and I will even use my 5 needle punch later on as well. The fluffy frayed edge is what you're going to use to attach to the head. Another tip is for you to look at images so you can get an idea of what type of ear or shape of an ear you might want, whether they're large or small. And truly, they're all so different and so unique, so you could just do anything. The multi-needle punch, this 5 needle punch, helps flatten and smooth and felt a lot quicker. I also like to rub the ear in between my hands. It kind of helps it felt a little bit better, but smooths it out, makes it a little more polished, a little bit thinner. Okay, so how many of you have actually sculpted an entire ear and it was a beautiful ear, and then you attached it to your doll, but then you hated it? Well, that exact thing would happen to me every time when I first started making my dolls. So how did I fix that? I started attaching the ear and then sculpt the ear how I wanted it to look on the doll. You can see I am purposely shaping the ear and felting it into the shape that I want it to have while it is on the doll's head. Not prior, but while I attached it on. So I sculpted on the head. Another little trick is that I do not firmly felt the ear into the head. And later on in the video, you'll see why. Here I have a basic ear shape and it is attached to where it won't fall off and I can work with it, but it is not super felted in yet. Well, whoops, there it goes. Yeah, this is the reason why I don't firmly felt the ear on. So that way it's attached firm enough, but if I need to readjust, like I did there, because I didn't like the position, then I can do so without tearing up the ear or the doll. Honestly, I really do a whole lot of repositioning, so yeah, I can't firmly felt it in. I think I always have to change the position at least twice. Every time. And here's a peek at what the back of the ear looked like. Starting on ear number 2. Basically going through the same process as I did before, nothing different. Do some of you worry or fret over having the perfect looking ear? Well, I'm going to squash that too, because if you look up images of ears or look at your own ears or other people's ears, they're all different. Even your right ear from your left ear, it's different. And so what I'm going to tell you is, because I used to worry about the perfect ear, don't fret about that. They're all different. They all look different. They're just different. So don't fret about the perfect ear. Once you let go of the perfection, then your ears, I swear, will come so much easier. They will. You'll be able to just like, oh wow, look, I made an ear. Oh look, I made another ear. Ooh, yeah, woo. Ah, well, here I go, messing up again. I made this ear too big, so I had to get rid of some of it. And of course, I couldn't find my seam ripper, so I just used a pair of scissors and just kind of pulled some of the fiber apart and then just go at it again. By the way, I found my seam rippers right after I finished filming, so go figure. So you see, by rubbing the felt or the ear in between my hands, you'll see how much smoother and more felted it looks and thinner. I think it gives it a nice look to do that. Now, some people will actually wet felt their ears, depending on their project, of course. So when I started making dolls, there was a lot of things that kind of challenged me about ears. And one of the things, like for particularly this doll, this is our dwarf warrior wizard, and I don't know how I want his ears to be, whether I want them to be rounded or pointed at the ends. So yeah, there's a lot of decisions, and when you're starting to play with making different types of dolls, these are all considerations that you need to have. I know for one thing that he's going to have a beard and hair, so if I make ears, I have to make them big so they will stick out, because I want them to show a little bit through his beard and hair and stuff. And further in the video, we'll also discuss some of the things that just didn't occur to me when it came to making ears for dolls. Okay, this is the part where I like to say I'm play pretending, because remember I said I don't attach the ears totally firm. I don't felt the ears totally firm because I'm still sculpting. I might need to remove or adjust. And I'm lightly tapping in hair. I'm not going to felt this on because we're pretending. I want to see, okay, will these ears work with this beard hair type, what I'm envisioning? I absolutely love these stages of the doll making, just trying things out to see what I like, what I don't like. I might try different colors of beard or a different style of ear. So I really think it's very important not to firmly felt anything into final form. And besides, like I said, I love this part. I think it's really super fun. And you can kind of see your character or your doll starting to come to life before your eyes. So you see, I just used the needle just to kind of slightly tack things in, but really easy to pull off, to get rid of, because that's not the final look. I know that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of see where I was at. And here I made the decision, well, perhaps maybe I do want a pointy ear. Not sure if that will be his final ear look, but I think I'm going to try to make this ear just a little bit pointy. I kind of slow it down a little bit to show you how I'm doing that. So with me not felting completely firm, I'm still able to manipulate the fiber in any shape or form I want and not say, well, this is it, this is what I'm stuck with. And then I can try again with play pretend and see if I like it this way better. Here we are playing and pretending again to see if I like the pointy ear look better. Oh my goodness, what fun is this? I'm not even lying. This is, I really do love doing this. I think it's great because I am starting to see what I want or don't want. And I'm envisioning all sorts of things now. It's when the magic begins. I am using some makeup and I do use chalk pastels, but I'm adding some depth with some color, darkening in the ear a little bit. Try to give that illusion of shadow and where you see the bumps and the curves on the inside of the ear. A closer view, I think when you do that, it really just adds more life and texture to the piece. Now we are to the point that's something that never occurred to me. You see how I covered up the ear with the hair? Well, did you know that sometimes your dolls don't even have to have ears? I know that sounds like such a silly thing, but if you really struggle with creating an ear or you don't like it and you have to ask, do I absolutely have to have it? I have made dolls that don't have ears. It's not needed because they have a hat or there's too much hair covering it up. So yeah, you have to really consider that. And it's okay if they don't have ears. So that's definitely a hack. No ears makes a perfect ear. I still need to do some smoothing out on these ears, but I think I'm going to go with a pointy ear shape. I may change it back to the rounded, but I have to felt out all the bumps and smooth it out anyways. But I do like what I'm seeing so far. Anyone watching for the first time, this is our dwarf warrior wizard, and I have his first video already posted. I will attach it at the end of the video so you can take a look. And if you've made it this far, I'd hope you subscribe. Thanks so much. Until next time, and we have tons to do on this guy. I mean, so much more. And remember, he's my challenge. I hope I can meet the challenge.